Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. We were at Brendan Theaters today watching Men in Black International. This franchise has kind of had a tumultuous run. The first one is considered to be a very excellent sci-fi film. The sequels are kind of diminishing returns. While this is more of the same, it is definitely a somewhat tired formula. There's still a lot of fun that you can have in this kind of a film, and I think that this movie is a perfect example of that. Right off the bat, to name a few of the good things, the acting performances are really good. There's a definite chemistry that exists between Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and that shows through Thor Ragnarok, and it also shows in this film. They definitely carry some of that on-camera chemistry over to this performance. I felt like the story itself, while it had a couple of rough bumps, it does take a few interesting turns, and you see it in the trailer. The concept of having somebody who has known about the Men in Black their entire life and has spent their life searching for them to become a part of them is an interesting take. I mean, everything we've seen up to this point is the Men in Black coming in and like basically stealing these people from their lives. I felt like this was like an interesting turn. It was definitely a cool idea and it worked really well for what its purpose was. I felt like the voice acting performance from Kumail Nanjiani as Pawnee was really good. You see some of it in the trailer, and in the trailer it doesn't necessarily work as well as it does when you sit down to watch the film. Like I said, that part was definitely very enjoyable. Brought a lot of comedic relief to this story, which there is a lot of comedic relief coming from a lot of different sources, but his is definitely more on the nose, like jokes. The visual effects are very good. The way that like vehicles transform into weapons or other crazy like flying vehicles and all this other crazy stuff, that definitely carries over from previous iterations of Men in Black, but obviously because the budgets are bigger and the visual effects abilities are bigger because we are in the future, it definitely works out a lot better and it looks really, really good on screen. Kind of breaking down some of the negatives as well, like I said, the story itself, the way that they chose to portray Tessa Thompson's character was very good and I liked that, but there is something to be said about the actual formula of Men in Black. Men in Black 1 has this really cool ability to be a fish out of water movie where you're also out of the water with the fish. So you get to see all these things unfolding around you as you learn that the world's not really what it is. And we discussed it before we actually sat down to review the film. We all kind of came to the same consensus that it was a situation where having that ability to learn with the character, once you take that away, there's kind of a sheen that's taken off of it. Like I said, it feels a little tired in places. It feels a little overwrought in places, and that's unfortunate, but I also think that that's something that's inevitable. If you haven't seen the first Men in Black film or any of the other Men in Black films and you go in to see this, I think that you would have a more enjoyable time and be able to more quickly follow the ride than you would if you'd been like us and seen all of the films. That's kind of rough. I mean, it's like, what do you do from here? There's not really anywhere else you can take it if you're constantly bringing in a new person and changing the way that everything looks. It's like you can't do that anymore. Once you've done it the first time, it's already been done, and you did it in your film. So it's kind of like you're setting your own expiration date. That being said, this movie is a lot of fun. It's a very enjoyable ride, even though the twists and turns are things that you expect. And like I said, having seen all of the previous films, there isn't a lot that just kind of jumps out and is like, oh, this is something completely new and different. It's all just the kind of the Men in Black formula, which, take it or leave it, it can be enjoyable, but it's never going to top going into that blind, seeing the first movie and kind of growing with the character like Jay. But the characters in this movie did a fine job. They had great chemistry. It was just a good time. I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. It wasn't a perfect film, like I said, because I think at this point, once you've released the first Men in Black, you can't really just re-release the first Men in Black anymore. It's not a viable concept, but it is definitely worth the watch.
If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.